see the light shining bright. Mhm. Shining bright in my life. Shining bright in my life. Shining, 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 out, shining in my life. I wanna see the light. Shining, 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 shining in my life. Shining, 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 shining in my life. Now listen.
So dear Muslims, dear non-Muslims, dear believers, I'm not going to address the non-believers. They're going to hear whatever they want to hear. But you non-Muslims, we address you. Believers, Muslims, we address you. And non-believers, if you really have a little urge, a little desire to believe, we address you too. We have a special person with us. Do not take Imam Warithuddin Muhammad for granted. Would you have taken Frederick Douglass for granted? Would you have taken Booker T. Washington for granted? Would you have taken Dr. Martin Luther King for granted? Would you have taken Jesus the Christ for granted? Imam tells us he's no prophet. But I tell you, he is a leader for humanity. So dear brothers and sisters, let us take heart to what is coming to us today, and let us stay vigilant in our responsibility to support and follow and associate with the leadership of Imam Warithuddin Muhammad. We bring him before you. Takbir! Takbir! Takbir!
Thank you. Peace be on you. As Muslims greet, Assalamu alaikum. Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. We praise the one God and give thanks to the one God who is Lord, the keeper, sustainer of all the worlds. The one who created everything and thereafter gave everything its guidance, and who is called in the Quran Al-Khaliqu Kulli Shay, the creator of every single thing. The Lord sustainer of the worlds, who sent messengers, prophets, one after another, as Allah tells us in the Quran, to address needs of the people as those needs manifested in the life of those people until man grew on this earth in knowledge and in science to find the means of communication and transportation, to discover the whole global community of people. Africa got acquainted with Asia. Europe got acquainted with Asia and Africa. America was finally discovered, and migrants from the continents came to this continent, America, and discovered a people we call, those migrants called American Indians or Indians. With the growth of the families of man on this planet, man became a believer in the family of man, the family of man. And finally, we have come to be believers in the global community of man, the global community of man, that all of us on this big globe we call Earth are really one international human community. To understand the signs pointing to the universal messenger prophet and the universal message that God would give that prophet, we should understand the growth of the families of man and how that growth have brought us to see ourselves now as one international family of people living on one earth and having to accept to be one community. Allah, that is God, most high and highly glorified is He. He says in the scripture, the Quran, revealed to Muhammad, the last prophet and the universal prophet, he says that you as people, and nas, all people, can and nas, that you as people, all people, were once one community, were once one community. I have reflected, thought about that saying over the years, because something in me told me, something in me was pushing me to understand more than I understood. I understood that it was saying that Allah intended for this earth to be the home of all people, all of the descendants of our first father. I understood that. And I understood that Allah was saying that whatever He designed for us in our creation, for us to eventually come to as a community and as an idea of life for our total community of the human family, that eventually would come about because God intended that. I understood that. And I also understood that God was saying that man descending from one human type or from one ancestor, that man started out as a single human community, a single human community. There was no community of this idea and community of that idea and community of this particular government and that particular government, nature of government. There was just one community. I understood all of that. But what I eventually came to believe was this, that God is saying to us, though the past tense verb is there, that we were, that God is saying to us that you are one community. You are one community. And those who understand grammar, Arabic grammar, Quranic language, and the grammar for that language, they understand that oftentimes, in fact, whenever God says, you were, speaking of what he intends for us, he is also saying at the same time, though using the past tense verb, and is correct and proper for grammar in Arabic, he is saying that you are that. You are one community. You may lose yourself from the idea of that oneness, from the belief or concept of that oneness, but you are always one community with God. With God, we are always one human community. And eventually God would bring to us the human model for all of us with the universal message for all of us, and we would begin to become, in reality, one community. Today, our national leaders, especially the President of the United States, the one before George Bush, and the present leader that we have, recognize that man is one community and is encouraging the recognition in the citizens of the countries, and especially in the citizens of this country, of knowledge and recognition of the fact that we can no longer look at ourselves without also looking at the other nations. We can no longer make plans for ourselves without also respecting that other nations make plans for themselves, and we all have to live together. So we have to bring our heads together, talk together. The leaders of the various nations have to meet together and talk together and respect each other's lives, each other's aspirations, each other's sense of purpose and destiny on this earth. That's what we are seeing. And to me, this natural phenomenon that has worked in our social nature and has worked in our economic life and in our industrial life, to bring our national leaders to recognize and accept that we can no longer make decisions for ourselves without respecting the decisions that other people and other nations have to make for themselves. To me, this natural phenomenon is saying, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. That's what I am seeing. It is a testimony to the fact that God is one and one alone. It is a testimony to the fact that the man to lead us is Mohammed, the universal messenger, a mortal person like ourselves. There is much that I would love to say to that thought, but we will move on. We trust always that the one God, Allah, highly glorified is He, will approve of our works, our plans, and our work, and accept our plans and our works, grant us the result that we hope for. We praise Allah and thank Him for His great mercy on us and on mankind. We thank Allah for making it possible for us all to be here today in Detroit, Michigan. We thank Allah. And we thank Allah for opening our hearts to this religion, Al-Islam, and to the last model human being, the universal messenger prophet Mohammed, the prayers and the peace be on him. We are again in this Cobo Arena in Detroit, Michigan. I recall better than maybe 20 years ago now, my father, Elijah Mohammed, spoke in this place. And I believe the crowd was so huge, I think there was over 10,000 people. Over 10,000 people. Well, we are here again. We were here on other occasions too, since the passing of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And we are here again. And we are very pleased to see how you have responded to this National Islamic Convention here in Detroit, Michigan. I've been invited to attend interfaith religious gatherings for the purpose of addressing the serious problems of human beings on this earth. I'm hoping to visit a town, a city soon, as not only the guests of the Muslims there, but also as the guests of the city. And one of the questions that we are having to address is, what can we do to heal these troubled cities and the miserable conditions that we find many of the people in? The miserable spiritual state of too many of the citizens, the miserable rational state of too many of the citizens, the miserable moral state of too many citizens, the miserable social condition of too many citizens. We ask, how can we make a contribution to the healing of the cities? We also ask, how are we to address senseless violence? And how are we to address racial strife that should be no more a problem that would alarm the nation after all of the work that has been done to bring about an acceptance in the European, Caucasian, or white people for the African or the black people, and what has been done to bring about understanding and acceptance in the African people or the black people for the European or the white people, after so much has been done over the last 20 years, we would think that old state of racism and condition of racism in the people would be not so strong, not so serious, that it would require national attention, national attention. I still believe myself that our most serious problem today is not racism. And the trouble, the evil that we find between the races are carried out by one race to the hurt and suffering of another race. We believe